I'm a recent newcomer to your channel. I found it when I was looking for information about coaching and kind of belatedly doing some due diligence after having a very narrow shave with what I now believe to be a coaching scam. I signed up with a pain management coach who is a mutual friend of myself and another close friend. I believe that the service I received from this woman was okay, perhaps a little pricey and something I shouldn't have invested quite so much in, about $2,000 Australian. I am a certified master practitioner of holistic counseling, having received my credential from a complementary therapies college in Australia in 2023. I was dragging my feet about starting my own practice as I was feeling like I was not enough. I'm a person of integrity and work within my scope. My worst fear would be doing harm to anyone who came to me for help, which makes me even more careful. So this woman and I had perhaps 2 or 3 sessions together, and I mentioned in one of them, bearing in mind that I was seeing her for coaching on pain management, not business, that I was feeling anxious about starting up my business. She immediately said that as a part of the coaching academy she belongs to, she could offer me a free ticket to an online certification in NLP. And I had learned about NLP as part of my college studies and was interested in it, and since it was free, I decided to take a look. So this seminar or masterclass or intensive, whatever, came along and I was advised to make food for the 3 days that I could just grab on the run because there would not be many long breaks for meals. Definite red flag. I felt that was pretty odd, but I decided to stay with it. This is actually a tactic that's often used at these like mega conferences. If anyone's familiar with, the Tony Robbins, Grant Cardones, Dean Graziosis of the world. Basically, they host these like multiple day-long conferences where each day is like 10 to 12 hours of you sitting in a conference room or stadium, sitting, listening to these people talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, basically to the point where you get so exhausted, you're basically hallucinating because you're so hungry and so tired and you have no idea what time or day it is, which then puts you in its position, allegedly, apparently, from what I've heard, seen, said on the internet, etc., puts you in a position where you're much more likely to buy something, because typically at the end of these seminars, they're pitching you some kind of multiple $1,000 program, but you're basically primed to want to buy because you're kind of not really in a normal state of mind, if you will. You are much more susceptible to believing whatever it is they're selling you on because you're not able to think clearly and critically. Allegedly, in my opinion, of course. So interesting, but also interesting that her friend was the one that lured her into this. So I could see how you might not really be paying attention to those red flags if you're at this conference with someone who is also drinking the hypothetical Kool-Aid, if you will. From the outset, I felt that it was weird. Pumping music, being told to get up and dance and raise your hands and assent to this and that and whatever else was being said. I have a background in Pentecostal churches in Australia, and it's not a pleasant association, to put it lightly. I felt as though I had landed in the middle of a happy clappy revival rally, or worse, an Amway/Herbalife business conference. Yes, if anyone is familiar with MLMs here on the channel, you likely know or have seen the videos of these like annual conferences that a lot of these MLMs will hold. And honestly, it kind of follows the same format from what I've heard and read and seen online. Essentially, you usually attend, usually it's like a weekend, I think, a weekend long conference. You're with all of the brothers and sisters of the MLM, if you will, everyone who is also part of the sales team with you. And you basically, again, sit in this conference hall, in this stadium, wherever the thing is being hosted. You're watching all these presentations, listening to all these speakers. It's long days. You're on your feet. You're listening to music. You're getting pumped up. You feel good. And it's essentially used as an opportunity to continue to indoctrinate you into the community of the MLM so that if you had any doubts about your ability to be successful in the business, you forget those and you continue to want to, be in community with these people that are all on the same mission as you to live a better life and have time freedom and da 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 da. And so a lot of this behavior that we see in MLMs is often mirrored in these coaching spaces as well. And again, in my opinion, it's all just a tactic to get you to either come into the community, pay to be in it, or stay in the community if you are already in it. Despite my qualms, and they were mounting by this point, I still stuck with it. I was there for a certificate and I was determined to get that darn thing. Sometimes my stick tuition can be my worst enemy. By mid morning of day one, I sent a question to one of the facilitators asking, "Is this an MLM?" Seriously, every MLM experience I had ever fallen victim to was flying at me in spades. The answer came back, "No, it's not an MLM. You're running your own business with your own products/services. We're just offering to help you get to six figures." Oh my God! How many times have we heard this story? How many times? Let me know. And here I thought I was getting a certificate in NLP. Lo and behold, after a very brief meal break, the guy running the masterclass came back and told a heart-ending story about being ripped off by an MLM. I just wanted to be careful not to shame my friend, as I think that she is genuine and is selling a worthwhile service. She's just been scammed and perhaps brainwashed. By now, I was seeing more red flags than at a Spanish bullfight, but I decided to stick with it. I stuck with it for the entire 3 days. I got the free certificate, and yet I didn't feel any more qualified or enough than I had at the beginning. I also sat through long and pushy sales pitches for the academy. I didn't pay. There was no way I could afford $1,197 US, especially at the current exchange rate, which would be almost 40% more. Girl, I live in Canada. I feel you on that one for sure. I have the certification, but I don't know that I would use it for much more than perhaps changing unhelpful thought patterns or self-talk, if that. I think there are better modalities for one thing. I think that 3 days of being sleep and food deprived and pushed with the hard sell does not a qualification make. So true. Especially when I felt as though the people assessing the practical sessions didn't know very much more about NLP than I do. At the end of the day, I was not scammed. I retained just enough critical thinking and lacked the finances to fall hard. I did hang around the fringes and attend a few more free webinars, aka sales pitches, but got over it in the end and found a free business coaching organization in my country that is government funded to sign on with. I just wanted to tell my stories so that others might dodge a bullet. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and I absolutely agree. Even if you're being offered an opportunity for free, first of all, anything that requires a significant amount of your time, in my opinion, is not free because my time is valuable, okay? But second of all, as I was saying, anytime you're being offered a free opportunity, I really want you to think critically about what the end game is for the person that's offering you that thing for free. So oftentimes we see, especially in the online business space, you get like a free training or a free PDF or a free insert lead magnet here. And it's really just a funnel into whatever their paid program is. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with offering freebies. That's a normal part of doing business. I just want you to really think about what the end game is of that free thing. If you're just going to go around and you're going to collect everyone's freebie and you are confident that you're not going to end up spending any money on any of these offers, go for it. But if you know you are the type of person that is susceptible to peer pressure, you're going to end up in these environments with tons of other people who are also excited. You're getting hyped up, you're ready to go, and you think that that might put you in a position where you would be willing to buy perhaps something that you don't actually need. That's when I want you to be cautious, okay? Just something to consider. And I want to thank the person who submitted this story. Now, I do have a second story today because both of these were quite short. They wouldn't warrant an entire video on their own. I thought we could just do them back to back, but thank you to the individual who sent that one. So this next story reads as follows. I had two female coaches between 2019 and 2021. I spent $140,000. Both coaches spewed all the things you talk about. One was certified with Bob Proctor, and before that, Tony Robbins. My man, Tony Robbins. We love that guy around here. No, we don't. She treated the $6,000 I gave her for 9 months as if she was giving me a deal. I think she actually did try to do her best with the coaching, but I think she's just brainwashed and her father was a used car salesman. When I found that out, it explained everything. So many times my intuition told me it wasn't what I needed, but I ignored it. The other coach called herself the Oracle and was trained by another high-ticket manifestation program. Her approach was that she channeled and healed you of all your blocks. Blah, blah, blah. Once I mentioned about being trauma-informed to her, she gaslit me by saying something about we create our own reality. How many times on this channel have we heard a story specifically of someone working in the manifestation coaching space with a manifestation coach rather, wherein all of the responsibility for the client actually getting results from the coaching program is thrown back onto the client. You create your own reality. Your beliefs create your reality. If you don't like your reality, it's because you're not believing the right beliefs. And if you aren't living a life that you desire, the life that you desire, it's your fault. How many times have we heard that, honestly, at this point? I've lost count. I was so depressed and anxious and seeking help that I bought the snake oil. I was so dysregulated that I wasn't able to trust that heavy feeling in my gut that kept reacting to the red flags and the gaslighting. See, this is what I talk about so many times, or I have talked about so many times here on the channel, the concept of vulnerability and how much of a significant role that plays in people actually falling prey to and ending up susceptible to buying into these programs. I think a lot of times there's this attitude online of like,
I don't understand how anyone could be so stupid to buy into one of these programs.
and until you find yourself in a position where you're depressed, stressed, anxious, etc., desperate to get out of your current reality, you don't have any right to criticize why someone would buy one of these programs. I did an entire video discussing why people get scammed if you haven't seen that. And in that video, I really discussed, the vulnerabilities at play here that are significant contributors as to why someone might choose to buy into one of these programs. You don't like the reality you're facing. You want reprieve from that suffering. You find someone who is promising you they have, the magical solution to solve all your problems. Why wouldn't you believe them? If they haven't given you cause to think they might be a scammer, why wouldn't you believe that what they're saying is true? You want to believe that people are good, right? So you're going to take what they say at face value, especially if they appear to be successful, especially if they have some story about how they went from horrible and miserable and anxious, aka where you are, to your dream reality. So rich, so successful, so happy. I think it's easy for us to criticize when we're on the outside. And so until you've been in it, it can be really hard to understand why this might happen to someone. By 2022, I was confused, broke, in deep shame, and suicidal. I had manifested, the exact life that I didn't want, the life I was trying to heal from. The Oracle coach tried to heal me with channeling sessions as she collected $2,000 a month. After the coaching was done, she later changed her persona, no longer channeling, closed down her website and social media, and created a new social media account. I felt so used, enraged, and sad. I feel like we were just discussing this on stream the other day. A particular coach, actually, I think it was the couple that we reacted to recently. Anyway, we were reading through a Reddit thread that was alleging that these particular coaches have changed what it is they are experts in multiple times over the last few years. And I always find it super interesting speaking to this as a business owner who over the years has obviously pivoted. I've changed what I sell. I've changed my offers. That's part of being a business owner, is like iterating and finding out what your audience wants. But I think there's a difference between navigating changes and trying to figure out where you fit in the market versus charging people thousands of dollars, claiming yourself as an expert in XYZ, and then changing course and becoming an expert in something else, and then charging thousands of dollars again. There's a difference between, I offer this $50 service and I'm trying to figure out if people actually want to buy it versus
I'm an expert in this topic. Pay me $10,000. Never mind. Now I'm an expert in this topic. Pay me $10,000.
it's like, you cannot possibly convince me that you don't know that what you're doing is disingenuous. I don't buy it. I do not subscribe to that belief that you don't know that you're being a scammer. Through all that time, I also paid for some courses from a coach who claims to help manifest relationships to try and get a toxic ex-boyfriend to come back. I spent so much time doing these exercises with these coaches. I wasted 3 or 4 years of my life on this, and now I can't even afford counseling. In any case, I'm glad to have found your channel to validate the situation I went through, so thank you. I am so sorry to the individual that sent this story. This really has my wheels spinning around the concept of law of assumption. It's something we touched on in the stream with this belligerent woman who would not stop screaming at us, and it's an idea I've been toying with for more of a deep dive dive style of video. I know many of you have been here for a very long time. You understand my feelings about law of attraction and manifestation. And I just think that the law of assumption, specifically when it comes to manifesting your specific person, is an incredibly dangerous sort of Pandora's box that we have yet to open here on the channel. And I really think that it warrants like a full deep dive into that topic, into the coaches that are shilling that narrative, charging people for
Help to manifest back their ex, and
just so much nonsense that honestly I get a little bit overwhelmed thinking about trying to even scratch the surface. But if that's something you're interested in having me look into, you can let me know in the comments. If you have a scam story you would like me to read out here on the channel, the form where you can submit it is linked in the description of every single one of my videos. Shout out to our channel VIP members, as well as Harrison, Tom, and Suzanne in the billionaire tier. Thank you all so much for being here. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, share, blah 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 blah. Take care, comb your hair, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.